actions.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you! You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. You know, why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
Did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you. That was...
There we go. Muted. Not muted anymore. Thanks, Jay. Thank you. Okay, that didn't work either. Okay, this is Tyler, but I almost wish I could just start over. I wish I could just start over because the chat's not coming. Let me see. Can we play this? Okay, I'm getting the chat. It's at least coming in here. Okay. Curtis is, said he gave a salute out there. All right, this is Tyler Yonke, LPR. We're gonna do a legal good audio good. Thank you. I'm aware now. We're going to do a little. I'm gonna move this over here. Legal. I'm gonna do a little bit legal Monday, and mostly because if you guys don't know, I do encourage you to go watch. I would say. The lawyer you know. I would say go watch him for this Adelson. This is a crime podcast that is beyond interesting to me. And yeah, see, we got Curtis in here. JC, I mean, JC roams all the, he's over on Rumble. He's over on, Humbleson's in here. Yes, it's live until you ask. Oh, that's Minder. Minder is the one that always asks, is it live? This Adelson, it is a fascinating story. I'll give you a quick background and then I'm going to play. This is day 2 of the trial and you got some protagonists here, the family and whatnot. And I think this is, we're going to do it because they have a lot of family law stuff that's coming into this murder trial. And if you guys don't know, let me know if you don't know about it. And I can give you, but I'm going to tell you. So 2013, it's this. And by the way, watching this today, it almost makes me more, if that's possible, more anti-Semitic. Emma is Minder. Get out of here. I don't know. It's a Jewish family. This guy, Dan Markel, he's a law professor in Florida State, and he marries this lady, Wendy Adelson, and she is an attorney as well, and they have 2 young kids, and then she has a big family that's kind of, and he's from Canada, but they're down to New York, down there. Then they go through a nasty family law case issue, and she wants to relocate these kids from Tallahassee to southern part of Florida, okay? and they go through some nasty stuff, and she loses her move away relocation case, and then suddenly he's murdered. This is in 2013, I think. He's murdered, and you're like, holy shit. So she takes the kids, moves down to where her parents are, changes their names, okay, and they can't get a connection. There was an eyewitness, like a neighbor, saw like a Prius take off, and so anyway, they do some deep, the FBI, the local police, they do a lot of work, and it takes a long while. It takes a long while until they finally are able to arrest these two guys, and they murdered them, and they have them outright, basically. But they did a murder for hire, and then there's this girl, and it comes to fruition where the wife in this family law case, her mom and her brother paid these, it was through his girlfriend, paid these guys to go and murder this guy, the dad, so then the mom can have the kids. Crazy. So the two murderers, they get put on trial. They get convicted. The girlfriend gets convicted. Then after she's convicted, then she rolls over on the boyfriend, which is the Wendy Adelson, her brother. And then he gets convicted. And now this is the trial of the grandma. This is the trial of the grandma. Okay, you guys, everybody, who's Emma? Sounds like a movie. It's fantastic. By the way, if there's some really good crime podcasts out there, I listen to, my wife loves Crime Weekly. They did a whole breakdown on it. They do a really good job. If you're interested, walk through that. But this is the trial, because it goes up to like the brother's trial. This is the mom's trial. The mom's trial. Now, did the wife have anything to do with it? I almost think she did, but she's not being prosecuted, and it's tough because you have this causal, this train connection trying to get to all these people. So anyway, mom's now in here, and we are going to go through some of the testimony. This is day 2. Day 1, opening, very good. I don't understand the defense attorney for the mom, for the grandma. And by the way, we'll just, it's not set up. Damn it. I was looking for my cat. Okay, so I was looking for the cat outside. She's not in yet. So I'm just like, I'm going to go ahead and just do this. And then, hopefully she'll show up at some point, and then I could whatever. Okay, so here's there you go. There's the grandma. That's what she looks like. Okay, so we're gonna walk our way through this. Sounds like a season of Dexter. It is, because it's all Florida. So yeah, a lot of interest there. However, what they're doing now, because they have to have this connection, right? Grandmother and brother, and grandmother and her son. Okay, she's got 3 or 4 sons and then this daughter. The grandmother and the son, they all have a ton of money. He pays the girlfriend through his business. Okay, so he gets a tax write-off on this too. And she then, it's her husband or her ex, and they're on and off, and again, they have kids together. She pays him, and so the connection never goes from the parents and the grandma to the killers. It's always through these other intermediaries. And then the FBI, they did what's called a bump. Okay, this is years after the fact. And they had to do this thing where they basically have this guy posing as, they need them to talk again, right? Because there's nothing happening. So how are you going to get grandma and their son to talk about this and get them on a wiretap? They do what's called a bump. And they have a person posing as he's like a South Florida and Mexican guy. And he has a newspaper about the killing, and he meets her and he gives it to her, and he says, $5,000 basically, and I'll shut up about this. So then they're talking about it in code, right? And all this will come out in the trial. So anyway, first day, the killer comes on, he testifies because he's in prison. He's just, no problem. And now we have day 2, and day 2, we are going to walk through some of this, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Stay up for a while. Okay. And so the big part of this is they have to go through a lot of the family law case. This family law case comes in, and they have to talk about it a lot. And it's interesting because I'm watching this today, and I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm a family law attorney. I understand a lot of these things. Some of these other attorneys that are commenting on it, not quite. They get it. But family law is really unique. Okay, what's tonight's goal? That's a good question. Let's do 10 super chats. I don't care what we're doing here. Let's just do send 10. Did you watch that entire video? You're talking about this one over here? Yes, I went to court this morning. Okay, I had court this morning. My wife's gone. she's in Oregon right now. So I had court this morning. It went pretty quick. Came back to the office. Court was at 9. I got there, 8:30 or so. Did a little prep. Anyway, 9 to 9:30. Boom, we were done. Go back to the office. And the trial's on, so I'm watching Emily D. Baker do it, and she's behind. But the whole day I'm working and listening and to this. I did do the whole. And there's a lot of breaks in here. You can see there's hour and a half of just nothing break in here. Lunch and whatnot. So I did listen to it over the day. Yes, I did. Did you watch Scott Horton Lex show too? About the same amount of time. I did not. You know what I have? It's not a problem, but it's kind of like I've seen. What do I need to know more about? I listened to Scott, his podcast. I listened to him on podcasts. I've listened to his debates. What more do I need to really listen to? I mean, at this point, it's just a lot of reaffirmation of everything I kind of like and understand. Okay, so this is an look. So you guys are going to get a little bit of stuff in here. This is how they need to get these documents in for the jury. Okay, you can't just say, "Oh, here's an exhibit." You have to lay foundation, authentication. Now it's a court record, so you can do what's called judicial notice, where the court will just take judicial notice of these legal documents that are already in a court case. And so that's at least the authentication part. But you have to lay foundation for this. So they have this detective, or I think that's what he is, that read through everything. So now they want certain parts to come out as exhibits for the jury. So they're going to read. Now there's emails. So there's another. See, look, you're going to learn a lot of legal stuff here tonight. There's emails that they have between mom and daughter. Daughter is going through this legal thing, and mom is pulling all the strings in behind the scenes. Okay. So she's writing her emails. She's telling her what to do. No, and then she sends her these emails. This lady's an attorney, by the way, but then she has a family law attorney. So then she basically cuts and pastes, changes it to her tense, and emails it to her attorney. So her mom's really pulling strings, and that's important here because you want that to happen. But there's emails also between the mom and her attorney. Okay, not grandma, but the mom. Her name is Wendy with an I. I mean, come on, how gay is that? Wendy with an I and her attorney. And you're like, well, how do you get those? That's attorney-client privilege. Nah. Wendy was forwarding them to her mom. Now you don't have this privilege anymore, okay? So suddenly, but the privilege that is still active is the marital privilege. So the husband can't come and testify, as an example. Whew. Okay. Omniscient at this point. I don't know what that means. Okay, this is an investigator. He went through all this stuff, and he is going to, basically we're going to do some testimony here, but let me back up just a tap to where I want to start this. And let's put it at 1.25. That should be good enough. And we're going to play some clips here. Okay, so I'm going to just walk through, this is some stuff, and I'm going to just make comments as a family law attorney, okay? Let me know if you can hear it, okay?
What non-marital assets are these? Does this refer to your 401k?
About as loud as it goes, by the way.
If so, his 401ks, one for $75,000 and one for $25,000, if not set aside in a prenup, are deemed marital assets. So this is, am I correct? This is Donna responding to each, she kind of goes paragraph by paragraph and offers edits and questions for Wendy.
Donna's the grandma.
All right, and how do we know this is Donna and not Harvey?
Signed, love you, Mom.
This is something they had earlier, which is mom and dad have a shared email. Grandma and grandpa have a shared email. And they're like, we can't just put these emails in because this is her trial. And how do you know that those are written from her and not him? Well, a lot of times it says love mom. Okay, and then dad's not really doing much anyway.
Are Donna's questions and feedback forwarded by Wendy to Wendy's attorney?
Yes, they are.
And does Wendy cut and paste mom's questions and then send them to the attorney as her own questions?
She does.
Okay. And then does she, upon getting a response from the lawyer, does Wendy send the lawyer's answer on to her mother?
She does.
Let's go to tab E, please. What is tab E?
Motion for leave to amend petition for dissolution of marriage to add a complaint for relocation.
Okay, so here's the big crux. And you guys are kind of like, okay, this is kind of some boring. Yeah, this is some boring stuff, and we're going to get to some better things. So they have talked about some marital asset stuff in here, and you know, it's interesting because you hear it and it's like, okay, I don't want to belabor the point about the rights and wrongs of family laws, community property, but anyway. But then she amends her petition to change that she wants to relocate the kids. Almost in all states, it's called like a relocation, a move away. Okay, so you're in that jurisdiction, you're in the county that you typically are. And by the way, to have the right venue, which courthouse do you go to? Well, typically it's you got to be 6 months in the state, at least in California for jurisdiction. It's 6 months in the state residency, and then at least 3 months in the county that you're filing, and that's typically how you're going to do it. One of the parties is there. Right? If it's just paternity, it's like, did you have sex in this county? Anyway, we don't have to go there. But anyway, so that's one thing. So she does an amending a petition. She wants to move the children away, and there's a whole complete analysis that goes into this. The best interest of the child standard. This is the kind of stuff that they walked through for. They don't go through it today, but they talk about it. And we're gonna look at some of these odd things here about some of it. But anyway, keep going.
Through everything we just talked about. Hold on. Amend petition for dissolution of marriage to add a complaint for relocation. All right, so this is Wendy seeking to add the relocation issue to her initial petition.
Correct.
Okay, and was there any discussion from the defendant regarding the arguments for relocation in the context of the divorce?
Yes, there was.
Okay. And is that 60.E2?
It is.
What's the date on that email?
It's going to be 5 days prior to the filing, so January 9th.
Okay. And that is for your meeting tomorrow with Kristen.
And by the way, I know you guys are kind of like, am I interested in this? You are. And then there's going to be other people that have never heard of the show. They're going to come here and they're going to be, what's going on with this audio to begin with? But then they'll be interested, okay? So like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff, and hang around. What's fascinating here is this is a direct witness. So look, when you put witnesses on the stand and you're calling them and they're under yours, it's direct testimony. So you have a direct examination. Under direct examination, unless the court deems them, and sometimes you can do it with experts, but unless the court deems them as a hostile witness, the only reason for hostile witness is you can use leading questions, okay? This attorney here is just leading questions up the yin-yang, and they're not objecting. Now, sometimes it's just like, okay, we're not gonna really worry about that. I mean, I've had trials where, you know, really we're on point for all that kind of stuff. And I like to, it depends on the situation, but sometimes with opposing counsels, I like to push them to make sure that, I don't want to just have your day easy here, right? And it depends what it is. And sometimes it gets them all worked up and then they get off and you got to ask these the right way. Sometimes I just had a trial where started out and I'm asking my guy some questions and I'm leading. It's very obvious. And he started out and then I was, anyway, this is my turn to do direct and I'm leading this guy. And it just, cause sometimes you just, where you're trying to get answers out and he's not objecting. And I'm like, okay, here's where we are. And I even had a joke with him at lunch. I'm like, you said you weren't objecting to my leading. I said, and he goes, look, we're just trying to get through this thing. So perfectly fine. That was, that guy's a nice attorney. I like him anyway. But this is, I don't understand why in a trial like this, they're not objecting more to this kind of stuff. You saw this if you did Karen Reed, they were objecting all the time.
Adamson, Wendy's lawyer.
Yes.
Okay, and how is this one signed? Well, let me back up for just a moment. Some of the contents include, obviously at some point, whenever Kristen thinks it's a good idea since this is a major bargaining chip for you. What was the major bargaining chip?
Her employment.
That she had better employment opportunities
Correct.
in South Florida.
Yes.
All right, he needs to know that there is no way in hell you're going to stay at FSU and that he's the reason you're leaving. Is that what she said?
Yes.
And that's Donna's the author of that.
Correct.
Okay. Let's go to tab G, please. What is tab G?
The husband's answer to wife's amended petition for dissolution of marriage and request to be allowed to relocate with the minor children. and husband's objection to wife's request to relocate with minor children with prayer for relief.
So he didn't want her to move to South Florida with his kids.
He did not.
And what did he say was the sole reason that she really wanted to move to South Florida with the kids?
So she can be closer to her parents.
Right, and
Okay, so now we're going to move up a little bit, and they're going to talk about what her most important reason for moving. And by the way, almost all this comes from her mom, but here we go.
that Mr. Markell is putting in.
And I'll just say this. Gibbers. That's what the wife and grandma call the guy. And at some point they said, they asked the wife, why did you use that? Because she testified today, and she's like, oh, it's just a silly nickname. Now it's some Jew. It's because he's Jewish. They're Jewish. He was very more not Orthodox, but kosher and kept all this stuff. And you'll get into the good stuff here in a little bit. But it's some sort of Jewish slang ripping on him because they hated him. Okay. And this is where testimony, you've got to be at least, it's a murder trial. But to be believable on little things that don't matter, it's a contentious divorce. You hated each other. You can say, yeah, I had a stupid I had a bad name for him. It meant something. But she couldn't admit that.
Divorce.
Gibbers has made his divorce a full-time job to attempt to get what he's always gotten, his way.
And what does she say is the most important part of Wendy's divorce?
The most important part of your divorce is relocation. I sincerely hope your attorney understands that this is your non-negotiable. Lots of things are negotiable. That's one thing that you cannot let her think, okay, well, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. She needs to hear from you how serious you are about this and how it will benefit the children and close-knit family support system, as well as your significantly better paying job with hours much more flexible than your current job.
Okay, and does she say anything to disparage Dan Markell in this email?
She says Danny thinks he's a very important person, and as always, he and his needs come first.
Does she call him a narcissist?
She does.
Okay, I might have gotten ahead of you, but if you'll read what's up there, please.
Only an idiot like him would write that. He should be the only one consulted for making decisions regarding the health, education, and religion of his children.
Okay, keep going.
Mr. Markell has become a religious zealot over the last few years since the birth of our first son. Skip forward. This is also to show the congregation what an attentive father he is.
And attentive is in quotes, right?
Yes, it is.
She doesn't think he's an attentive father, does she?
No.
Okay, what does she say?
See, those are all leading questions. It's just, and the defense is just, okay, we're just going along. You got to make them work for it. You got to make them work for it.
Schooling opportunities for the boys in South Florida.
He's indoctrinating them, not teaching them. If he truly cared about religious school for them, then clearly one of the 37 Hebrew day schools in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County would be a better choice for our boys.
All right, next, please. Okay. Does she say the word bribe? Donna Adelson.
Yes.
Okay, so then they tried to, and I'm going to skip forward here in a bit. They came up with an idea of $100,000 they're going to give, or $1 million. $1 million they were going to give to the dad if they can move the kids. And wife was going to come up with a third of it. Mom and dad were going to come up with a third of it. And the brother were going to come up with a third of it. Now, the wife says, I was never able to do that. She did steal $400,000 as soon as they separated. Okay, let's move forward here. Now, this is going to be some of the juicy stuff. Okay, this is what the grandma wants to then move the kids away. And she devises a plan of how to do it. And part of that plan is to make dad so miserable up in Tallahassee with the wife that he will finally just move. Okay. And so this is part of her plan to do this. And this is fantastic. And if this doesn't make you, let's just play it.
Nothing else to fight about?
No, this says never, never, never give up. It's time for action.
Hold on just a moment.
It's time for action. It's time to take control of your life and not let Gibbers think he's just won anything by having you remain in Tallahassee 8 hours away from the only family you have and lose out on what will be a job that will afford you and your children advantages that they will never otherwise be able to enjoy. Let's show this F what will make him absolutely miserable. Fast forward. However, the rest of your life, and consequently Dad's, mine, and yes, even Charlie's, will be affected by how well you can perform or act before July 31st. You can be a good actress when you want to. I've seen you in action. You need to put on the performance of your life. Gibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet. You have a very strong family behind you. Dad and I have done everything we can to try to help you for the last 10 months. Now it's time to help yourself. Fast forward. If you can put these actions before everything else this next month, and you know that you've only got the kids a limited number of days to do this, we believe that Jibbers will be saying, stop this, and you'll be telling him, you wanted me in Tallahassee? My children are going to fit in this Bible Belt. They're going to church every time I have them. I'm having them privately tutored at home to get them caught up for Sunday school classes. Tell him that you've got a new outlook on life and a new hope, and you'd like to go to heaven. Perhaps he would like to join you and the boys at church.
Remember, he's very, very strict Jew. And they're all Jews, okay? So that's the plan. Now, I will say this kind of stuff, and with the grandma, this is how he ended up winning his case, because to some extent he was able to prove, one, it's hard to just get up and move. He's tenured there. You have to show good reason. She just wanted to go down there, and there's more, dating she can do. And so just to uproot the kids, even at an early age, is not necessarily the easiest thing to do, okay? And then he's in the local community, and sometimes the community up there, you go to a judge and you're like, look, we want to move to someplace nicer than where you are currently a judge. And sometimes the judge is just kind of like, excuse me? So anyway, plus, when you're doing this kind of shit, this alienation, it's not going to go well, right? You have two kinds of custody, and they talked about it a little bit in here. There's some explanations. They didn't like the one attorney because they were giving her good legal advice, but in their family law case. But you have legal custody, which is all the decision making of your health, education, religion, and then you have the actual visitation time. And you do shit like this. You start to, like, we're Jews. We're all Jews. And suddenly mom is changing their religion to Christian. She might not have the decision-making ability anymore. Think about it this way. In certain communities, during COVID, you don't get your shots and whatnot. Maybe you lose your ability to be the decision maker. I don't believe that should be the case, but I'm just saying that could be some of the arguments.
One, take photos of the boys, dressed nicely, standing at the front door.
These are great.
By the sign of a Tallahassee church. Then change your Facebook status photo to this one so everyone will see this. Perhaps a line under the photo with "New Beginnings in Tallahassee" might be nice. And two, make arrangements to get the boys caught up with a private tutor, a teenage Catholic church member, who will come to the house to teach the young men about Jesus. If you don't have time to arrange for this to happen, I'll happily do it for you. Three, let Jibbers know that your children will be baptized in the Catholic Church. Let him know that the Catholic Church is a big part of your life now with the boys, and you'd like him to be part of it. As long as he wants you to remain in Tallahassee, the boys will be involved with you in church-related activities and ceremonies. Let him get used to it. I've already checked this out, and a baptism can be arranged within 2 weeks.
This is batshit crazy stuff.
4, I'm looking into summer camp programs for the boys. We will pay for it. 5, register them for toddler classes at church. I've looked into this, and even if they don't go, we can show Jibbers that they are enrolled for the fall semester. And you cannot tell anyone this is an act. Take control from him, get to him psychologically. He's going to want you to stop this.
This doesn't even make sense, but this comes from the mind of someone who hired a hitman to kill their son-in-law so that the boys don't have a father, and they have a lot of money. And it's just one state, same state. But this is the kind of mindset, because it's only going to backfire. Matter of fact, there was a motion pending that the kids shouldn't be around grandmother, not supervised. So he was smart enough to know, and he didn't have all the emails here.
We plan to make a financial offer to him to allow this relocation. You need to work this plan, and we'll help you through it. We'll help you through it so that it may affect how much we will offer him. Maybe he'd be willing to let you relocate if he knew his children would attend a private Hebrew academy like Donna Klein in Boca, or perhaps he'd like them to invite him to a Christmas party at their other Sunday school.
Wow.
Quotes. And then she says,
"It gets better.
I know you would never want to think that you didn't do absolutely everything you could to try to come down to your family. We don't want Danny to continue his religious influence over these children any more than what he's already done. If he keeps this up, they won't want to eat in your non-kosher home. As they get older and more involved under Jibbers' religious influence, they will be able to request which parent they want to live with. Don't allow Jibbers to have this power and control over them. Then in reality, he's going to have the same control over you." Dad and I is referred for the person. It's time for you to show us that you can put on the performance of your life for the next few weeks. We send this letter with our love and only the best intentions, Mom and Dad.
Right, and you mentioned this as we were going through there, but there's a reference to Dad and I in the text, right?
Correct.
Can we go to tab EE, please?
Now, I don't have it marked here, but I want to see, there's another, she has one more thing that she wants to do to have the kids do, not just perform Catholic stuff. Let me see if I could find it here. Otherwise, maybe I have it in the other, when the mom testifies. Okay, it's not in here, this one, but Grandma then says, maybe we put them in a Nazi, remember, these are Jews. Maybe we put them in a Nazi uniform and you just take pictures of them. It's just like being a pirate. You're not really a pirate. You're just dressing up as a pirate. So what's fascinating about that to me is, look, these are Jews that are not offended by Nazi uniforms. So let it be known, burning, look, the flag is an issue right now, right? Burn the fucking flags, burn the Jewish flag. I just did a show just the other night. Was it last night? I don't know, the other night, about the Jewish flag and whether you can actually burn it or not. We walked through that. You can burn it, I'm pretty sure. But now then Donald Trump says, I'll one up you and you can't burn the American flag. And I'm kind of like, I just talked about that, right? Actions can be seen as speech. So is that a free speech issue? It's been noted as such, and it is pretty. I'm sorry, Matt Walsh, all these Daily Wire people, they're coming out there, and I'm just like, it's a flag, people. At what point are you? And Matt Walsh is like, yeah, but you already get put in. It's a crime or whatever if you burn a LGBT flag, and I'm like, I don't think it is. You should be able to do that. Maybe they get butthurt over it, but for Pete's sake, if you own something, go ahead and do it. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Okay, so let's move on here. The daughter comes and testifies. I want to say, and you're going to say one quick thing here. The judge is black. He's actually really good. 13408. I want to see, because her defense attorney, I'm sorry, moving the wrong way. So you're like, well, how does she come and testify? Well, the state has subpoenaed her, and they have you'll hear this.
John Lauro on behalf of Wendy Adelson. Your Honor, we previously filed a motion to make a brief statement before Ms. Adelson testifies. We'd like to make clear for the record that she is appearing pursuant to a state subpoena that by law furnishes her with use and derivative use immunity. But for this subpoena, she would assert her Fifth Amendment rights with respect to every question that the state would ask relevant to this matter. We also believe that the use and derivative use immunity covers cross-examination to the extent that it involves responsive and relevant questions as well.
The court has previously ruled concerning this matter that the immunity that is being conferred by the state's subpoena does extend to cross-examination, and that she is appearing to answer questions under this immunity. One matter that had come up, Mr.
Okay, so she gets immunity. She's going to come in there. And this is somewhat interesting because this is her mom. Now, she hasn't really talked to her mom for a while. Let me see, we'll go to 146. And I think she knew something about it. Okay, I really do. But she's going to be able to testify. And you look at her and you're like, hey, she's, except for that look, she plays with her hair a bit. She's pretty, but man, is she annoying to me. This lady, I'm sorry. And the reason, and I'm sorry, I'm not giving you the straight, just a legal take here, right down the middle. I'm biased on this, and I'm just going to give you my BS on it. I don't find her a credible. I think she's smart. She's an attorney, but she plays this whole. I don't know. Like, watch. Let's see if she does it here. This is the fascinating. Okay. She's testified in her brother's thing. She's done multiple depositions. She's an attorney. This isn't the first time she's been on TV to testify. But watch her here.
Wendy.
Oh wait, I wanted to see. Okay, she gets sworn in.
Please adjust the microphone as you need to, so you can be clearly heard. Ms. Kappelman, you may examine.
There you go. She taps on the mic as if it's her first. It's something about that. It just kind of got me. It's like, okay, is this the chick that threw the Pizzagate at the Floridian? No, it is not. That was last night. We talked about that last night. Her name is Wendy Adelson. She was married to Daniel Markell. They had 2 kids. They're going through a nasty divorce. He suddenly gets just knocked off. And her mom and brother hired hitmen to kill her husband. So now she has full custody. because he's dead. Okay, and whatever else. I don't know if he had his estate. I mean, essentially, you know, someone's got to be controlling that too. Then the boys are going to get it. Her boys. So anyway, let's start with her testimony here.
Wendy Adelson, WendyAdelson.
Ms. Adelson, where are you from?
I'm from Coral Springs, Florida.
And you live in another state now, currently, right?
I do, yes, ma'am.
All right. How are you employed?
I'm an immigration attorney.
How long have you been an attorney?
Since 2006.
And you're here pursuant to a state subpoena, is that correct?
Yes.
And that subpoena confers a type of immunity on you. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay. Which means that nothing you say here in court pursuant to that subpoena can be used against you at a later time. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay, but it doesn't necessarily mean you could never be prosecuted. It just means that what you say in court could not be used in any future prosecution. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. I want to ask you about your ex-husband, Daniel Markel. Is that a fair and accurate photo of Mr. Markel?
Yes.
When did you meet him?
Okay, so starts out there, and then let's get up to a few little bits. Now, she has some trouble answering some questions. A lot of I don't remembers. So what you didn't go through with me was she didn't drown the kids. I believe her. And she didn't drown the kids. No, she didn't. She's a pathological liar. Absolutely. So what you didn't see all of, I played a few clips here. When the guy investigator comes out there, that's her dad, by the way. When the investigator comes and he goes through the family law case and do all these emails, it's just tons and tons of emails about conversations between her and her mom. They just, you just watched it. Few, hour, I mean, this is only 2 hours into this this video for the day, but it doesn't start till 40 minutes. So it's like the last hour, if you're watching this live as a juror, you just heard a lot of these questions that they are going to now ask her. So let's get to that part. Okay, hang on. Okay, let's start here.
A controlling person.
Okay, sorry.
Your mom, the defendant, is a controlling person.
I don't think my mom is a controlling person.
Did you say at one time back in 2013 that your mom operates with emotional subterfuge?
I may have said that.
Would you like to refresh your memory?
I can.
It's tab 45.
Or is it just in long?
Wish for her to read.
What's that? Okay. What the?
Okay. So the question was, did you previously say your mom operates with emotional subterfuge?
Yes.
What is meant by that?
I honestly don't know what I meant at the time.
But not that she's controlling.
I don't think that's what I meant.
Did Dan Markel have a hard time understanding some of your mom's behaviors?
Okay, so there's a quick question there. Let's go to 209:30.
Dad probably thought it was more necessary.
Okay, and did your dad make a practice of supporting whatever your mom wanted? Is that kind of the general rule?
Yeah.
Was she the dominant force in the household?
I mean, I think my dad had more of a quiet strength, so it's hard to say who was a dominant force. I think they were both equally strong in their parenting.
Okay, did you previously describe, this back in 2013, that your mom was the dominant force in the household? If you need to refresh, it's tab 97. Okay. Check the very back.
Yes.
You did say mom was the dominant force in the household?
Yes.
Did your mom ever try to micromanage your life?
Yes.
Your career?
I don't know about my career. I chose to be a lawyer. It wasn't a very popular choice in my household.
Okay, then they show stuff where that's not the case either. Let's go about mom walking all over her. Yeah, so they ask her questions. She's all, and then they just show her where she said was very emphatic before about saying the opposite.
Did you ever feel like your mom was walking all over you?
I don't remember feeling that way.
Okay, what about specifically regarding this divorce?
I don't. I mean, I had a really good attorney and I was making the decisions I wanted to make.
Okay. And did you, back in April of 2013, tell a friend that you were trying to find a way to coexist with your mom that didn't feel like she was trampling your autonomy?
I'm sure I said that in 2013.
How did your mom feel about Dan Markel in this time frame, 2012 to 2016?
And I think I think a lot changed between 2012 and 2016. So I think her feelings about him changed over time.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on here from this baddie. I'm gonna go up to a little bit more. Let's see, Okay, she's going to do an order to relocate. Let's go here.
For denying your petition to relocate. Was your mom aware that the order was filed?
Yes.
Okay. And this is language from the order denied with prejudice, meaning you can't re-raise it, right?
Right, you can't refile.
And your mom wanted to fight the decision, didn't she?
She did.
Did you feel railroaded by her in this email where she's kind of bullying you to keep
Objection. You can't testify like that.
Did you feel railroaded by your mother?
No.
Okay, but she wants you to continue to take action.
It was denied. I wasn't taking any more action.
Not any more legal action.
I was.
Just want to get into this. She does a motion to relocate. Okay, it gets denied. The judge is like, he's not abusing the kids. All this, you're making up shit. It's denied, and he denies it with prejudice. With prejudice, if it's without prejudice, you can still bring the issue. You can refile the claim. If it's without prejudice, with prejudice, you can't. It's done and over. You don't get to keep it. Now, it's a little different. They talk about it a little bit in here. There's called issue preclusion and claim preclusion. If you file a claim against your neighbor for the fence and then you win it, or default or whatever with prejudice, you can't bring that same claim back up. But then there's also issue preclusion because, and that's more what this is. Now, what's called res judicata is claim. You can't bring a same claim. You can't keep even in a different court. You can't do that. There's issue, which is really what we have here, which is you have this full case. And one of the little issues, it's not the full case, the family law case, it's just this issue of relocation. They said, no, we're done and over. Now, we often have those in family law with, let's say, a restraining order. You have certain set of facts, comes about, da-da-da-da-da, and then it goes and the judge adjudicates it, and if it's with prejudice, you don't get to come back on those same issues. It doesn't mean that the next day he can't go and abuse you or her, and then you can't file again. No, it's just those same exact issues you can't relitigate. So, in this case, she's out there and she's like, oh, it was done over. It was a final order. It wasn't a final order. You can have a change of circumstance and you could have refiled a move away at any other time. Let's say he's a drunk. He loses his job. You think you couldn't actually refile that kind of stuff again? It's amazing that some of these attorneys, her, and even then the other ones in here in the case, now, I think they know that the prosecutor and the defense, maybe they don't. I mean, the defense attorney is a former judge, and she seems a little wacky. Wait till you see her. Okay. Who did you kill? JC. Oh, my God, JC. She might be a psycho, but would climb up that neck like a chimp. Yeah, I totally get it. I'm watching it here. I think she's attractive, but then there's just stuff about her, just the way she is. It grates on me, and I hate attractive people that are like her. I do that. Okay, let's keep going.
Not taking any more action of any kind.
Didn't your mom have some other ideas for some other actions that could happen?
She did.
She did. Dress him up like a Catholic boy.
She did want to take it to an appeal. Do you remember that?
Actually, I don't remember, but
that's on tab 43 of your binder.
Okay, so now we're going to move up to this motion to enforce. So they get a full judgment. They're divorced, I think, and then he doesn't follow through with a few things. Now, listen to this. This is 2013, I think. Listen to how she still talks about him. This is someone who hasn't gone to therapy. This is someone who is still a bitch, and this is the kind of stuff that bothers me. Whether it's true or not, and by the way, she talks about some stuff here about Skype. They're able to come back with stuff later on. She's total piece of shit liar. Okay. And so why at this point are you trying to make yourself still look good when it doesn't matter? This isn't your murder trial. Anyway, the narcissistic people, just like her mom.
And when I reached out, when it was time for him to pay what he owed, he said, I'm not going to pay it. And I asked why, and he said, I have my reasons. And so my attorney had to file to enforce the settlement agreement because otherwise he was going to be held in contempt of court.
The court had given him a deadline to make the payment, and he didn't make it.
Which doesn't make sense. Typically, you don't file a motion to enforce it. You file, well, you can, but I would just file a motion for contempt. Just boom. And the great thing about contempt motions are they come with civil and criminal penalties. You actually go up there and they have to be what do you call it when it's a criminal arraigned. You actually have to arraign, and they give them an opportunity. It could be like, I'm not paying child support that have been ordered to. Fine, we're going to go to contempt. Then they arraign you. They give you an opportunity to have a public defender. So it's great.
He didn't make it.
So you filed a motion to enforce
the settlement agreement.
And he filed a counter motion saying, well, I'm not paying because she's in violation for all these different things. Remember that?
I do. And then he accused my attorney of committing fraud.
Right. One of his big complaints was failure to facilitate the communication agreement, where I guess you all had some type of agreement to provide Skype calls with the kids to each other when you didn't have the children. Do you remember him complaining about that?
I do. I remember if I was 1 minute late, he would contact the parenting coordinator and complain that I was in violation.
Okay, which would be insane to do. And then you watch later on when they're actually producing the evidence that he submitted, which is like he sent an email and he's like, look, I'm able to have it either in the morning or the evening. It's my choice when it's on your time, when you have the kids. I'm just trying to call and do it. And you're always giving all kinds of excuses, and he lays it all out. And there was a whole month where she just wouldn't even let these communications happen. So it's a little bit much for her. And so when you hear this and then you see the evidence that comes out and you're just automatic. I mean, it's like right away. And her credibility is just going. Pfft.
That was a pretty regular complaint of his in this era of these filings, wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And when he sent an email, for example, 64N, let's see if we have that. Alleging these sorts of violations and including, quote, accusing you and your mother of making zero efforts to facilitate communication between he and the kids. Did you forward this email to your mother?
I don't remember if I did or not.
Of course you did. There was this.
For example, March 7th of 2013, Wendy, I really regret that things have gotten to the place where they are. Do you think we could try to resolve more issues directly with each other to prevent so much of the unnecessary tension and cost? Things like that.
Yes.
Okay. But then you didn't seem to be able to actually play nice with each other, even though it seems like maybe that's both what you wanted, at least at certain points.
I was always trying to play nice.
Well, you were threatening to hold him in contempt of court.
I wasn't threatening to hold him in contempt. That's what my lawyer filed. That's what happens.
Well, your lawyer represents you, doesn't it, Mrs. Adelson?
She does, but I wasn't threatening him.
Did you cease all Skype communication between Dan Markel and the boys on March?
By the way, there was an email earlier where one of them were like, to him, like, this isn't a threat, it's just a fax, and it was basically a threat.
12th of 2013.
I don't remember that, no.
Tab 54, please.
It looks like my attorney advised me to do that.
Did you cease all Skype conversations between Dan Markel and the boys?
Again, I don't remember. It's been a very long time. But if my attorney advised me to do it, then I probably did.
Why would your attorney advise you to do something? Why don't you go break the law, the court orders? See, this is the kind of shit. Okay, so we're almost done here. Wait.
The day that you filed that motion to enforce the marital settlement agreement and hold Dan Markel in contempt, see if I can find that. What was the date of that filing?
It looks like it was October 31st, 2013.
Was that the same date that you backed out of the contract to buy a house here in Tallahassee?
I don't remember if it was the same date, but at that point I didn't have the money I needed to buy the house because Danny didn't pay what he was supposed to.
Okay, but you don't.
And that's where there's a lot of this. Like she's still bitter. He didn't pay the money. I couldn't do this and this. Okay, Jordan says isn't a demand letter essentially a legal threat, counselor? Yeah, legal threats are fine. There was something else before that there was definitely threats that weren't legal, okay, that they were going to do. Now, I don't necessarily call them legal threats because that does sound a little bit much, but it's perfectly fine. And matter of fact, what I typically do is, like, let's say someone's doing this where they're just not allowing the kids to have contact, right? And they've been ordered to have Skype or Zoom or whatever, FaceTime with the kids, and they're not doing it. I send a letter to opposing party or opposing counsel, and I give them the opportunity to do the right thing, or they are allowing themselves to be set up. Okay, that's how I kind of describe it, which is send a letter going, look, here's the order, here's what you're not doing. Please going forward, can we just do this right? And I don't want to be bothered with it anymore. Now it's on record that I've sent them. They've been warned, right? Here you got to do, because you don't want them to go in there and like, yeah, well, they never complained about it. Okay, so now there's a formal issue. There's a formal warning. That's what a demand letter basically is. Act right or we're going to sue. And my thing would be like, well, act right or we're going to have to go to court. And when we go to court, we're going to use this against you. The problem is a lot of these little things, they don't matter. You don't go to court because you missed one phone call, right? You get, those are micro cuts that if you keep cutting, then when you go, if you have a bunch of them, it might cause a bleed. Okay, so we're done with her, but she gets crossed. Let's go to the ending of the direct here. Jumping a big time way up here. 5:18. Okay, so this is the end of direct.
I thought it were my brother. Did you call your mom from the interview room at Tallahassee Police Department?
I did.
And did she answer the phone?
She did.
When she answered, did she advise you that your dad was in the shower?
I don't remember whether my dad was in the shower.
You asked her to sit down. Do you remember that?
I do.
And by asking her to sit down, would that signify to her that this was going to be something serious you were going to reveal or say?
I was concerned about her age and if she were standing that she could, hurt herself if she fell down.
Okay. And do you recall that she at that point asked if she could put you on speakerphone?
I don't remember, but that sounds plausible.
What was the purpose of putting the phone on speaker, if you know?
I would be guessing, but so my dad could hear too?
But wasn't dad in the shower, or you don't remember that part?
I don't remember if my dad was in the shower.
Was anyone else there to your knowledge?
I don't think so.
Was Charlie there to your knowledge?
I don't think so.
Did you ask your mom in that telephone conversation to tell Charlie what was going on?
I think I did. I didn't want to make any more phone calls.
And your mom took the news pretty well, didn't she, this phone call?
I wouldn't say she took the news well. I think she was upset.
Did you say something different in your law enforcement interview after you got off the phone with her?
I don't think I did. I don't think I said something like that.
Didn't you say, page 265, line 5 through 6, quote, my mom handled that pretty well?
I may have said that. I can check it. Can you tell me the line again?
Yes, ma'am. Page 265, line 5 and 6. Page 280, really surprised. No further questions. Did you also say, well, my parents sounded really surprised, so that's at least a relief?
Yes, I see that here.
No further questions.
One of you went off to college.
Yes.
Each one of you got a postgraduate degree.
Yes.
So you're an attorney.
Yes.
Charlie became a periodontist.
Yes.
Which is someone who does surgery related to dentistry, correct?
Yes.
And then Rob's a doctor as well.
Yes.
And throughout the time that you all were going to college, your parents helped support you.
Yes.
Every one of you.
Yes.
And you had a good childhood.
I did.
And your mom took good care of you all.
Yes.
She treated you well.
Yes.
Very kind.
Yes.
Very loving.
Yes.
Very caring towards her family and others.
Yes.
helping anybody with their dissolution of marriage?
I had not.
Completely unfamiliar with the process?
I was unfamiliar with the process.
And that pleading that's before you, are you back on the front page of that?
I can get back to the front page.
Thank you.
I'm on the front page.
Okay. And could you read for the jury what the title of that pleading is?
Yes, ma'am. Former husband's counter motion for enforcement of MSA on parenting issues and motion for contempt and sanctions.
Doesn't say grandmother motion, does it?
No.
And in fact, the overwhelming majority of that motion relates to Danny's complaints about you and parenting issues, correct?
It does, yes.
And in fact, what they call the grandmother part of that motion is really Danny complaining about you not meeting the requirements of the right of first refusal, correct?
That's correct.
Because his complaint is that if you gave him the right of first refusal, some of the times he could take it and the children would be with him instead of the grandmother.
Yes.
It wasn't actually suggesting that from this point forward, your mother could no longer have anything but supervised.
Fuck, I'm muted. Maybe we should just quit. I dropped, my earpiece fell out and I dropped it, so I had to mute. And then this is a horrible, okay, we'll keep going here. At least you were able to hear this stuff.
I didn't see it that way.
Okay. And in any event, your mother never saw that motion, did she?
No, she did not.
May I approach? I'm going to take the book. I don't know if I'm going to give it back to you or not. That way it's not going to fall on.
Okay, let's move on here. So what's interesting is this defense attorney gets great results from this Wendy, that her client's daughter starts to do just fine, goes through some stuff. Once again, opens some things about character. Appears like she's Wendy's attorney. She talks about the with prejudice stuff. And then she just, you have a break. There's some other questions she has. And then she just does a little bit different stuff. Yeah.
We're getting married to Mr. Markell in 2006.
2006 we got married.
Isn't it true that you've stated that you knew on your fancy wedding day, when you were all dolled up and feeling like you were an actor in someone else's show, you knew it on your honeymoon when you were enjoying the vacation but not thrilled to be there with him? You said, I'm not sure I liked him, let alone loved him, but I was eager to start a life with someone and he wanted to do it with me. You recall saying that?
I don't recall saying that, no.
I have placed in front of you what's been previously marked as Defendant's Exhibit 1B for identification purposes.
Like, what's the point?
It's towards the bottom of page 3.
I see that I said that in 2013.
Ms. Adelson, you would agree that when Danny Markell was murdered on June the 18th of 2014, your little boys lost their father for the rest of their life.
On the day that he was murdered was July 18th, and yes,
Whoops.
my boys lost their father.
They're growing up as 11 years have passed without his influence in their life in any way. Isn't that correct?
I wouldn't say without his influence in any way, but yes, they've grown up without their father.
He's not here to give them advice.
He is not.
He can't come to any of their functions, sports, anything else.
Correct.
They're not eating kosher like they would
They don't even have his name. She changed their last name. One of them the middle name.
have with their father.
They are not.
They don't have him at all.
They don't have him in their lives day to day, no.
Because on July the 18th of 2014, he was brutally murdered in his driveway. Isn't that true?
That is true.
And you testified on direct that anybody in your family that had anything to do with it should be held responsible. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And that includes you, doesn't it?
Anyone who's responsible.
So that's the cross-examination, her mom's attorney, and it looked like it was going fine. You know, they subpoenaed her to be there. She would have had pled the fifth. And it's going good, and she's suddenly remembering things, and then it turns weird, and at some point it's like, I didn't understand. And then she throws her under the bus at the end. Now, there is a good part here. Hey, you want to talk about Nazis? Who doesn't want to talk about Nazis? Let's talk about Nazis. Here you go.
Love. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Because although her lawyers tried to downplay this, she was suggesting a baptism for these kids, right?
Yes.
She said she looked into it and could get it done in 2 weeks, right?
I believe that's what it said.
And didn't she justify the means or claim that this would be harmless to your children because it was just like...
I love this comment. It's got to make it harder when there's another attorney, lawyer on the stand. No. How do you get the upper hand? Here's how you get the upper hand. This is with everybody. People think they're too smart. They're smarter than you. Okay. So they will, this attorney here, Adelson, Wendy, the good looking one, she thinks she's smart, and her brother, when he testified, he had all the answers, okay? When he testified in his own murder case, and he got put away, okay? She, much like him, sometimes these people, they think they're so smart, and I'm an attorney, and I know the tricks of the trade. She's an immigration attorney. She doesn't spend time in court. She's already talked about that. She didn't know what with prejudice was. There, she goes, you know, the prejudice, yeah, well, before you didn't know, and they pulled out the quote where she said she didn't know what it was. It's like, okay, you're just kind of making her look like a fool. But you can, people, when they think they're too smart and they're going to fool you, that's when it goes wrong. The mentality on the stand has to be, I'm just here to tell the truth. But if you can't tell the truth, then you have to go that other route. And they've made her look that way because they have just simple little things like gibbers. Why would you call them gibbers? Oh, it was just a silly nickname. Oh, you guys hated this guy, hated him. It wasn't a silly nickname. You know, I've had to deal with this over and over where you need to screenshot stuff and you're like, oh my God, you had the guy's name as midget or whatever, you know, fucking loser or whatever it is. Now I've got to have that on there, you know? And so, you know, tell them to change the name that they have on the phone. But sometimes it gets, you know, shared like the kids see it or something like that. And it's just like, now you've got to deal with it. Okay. Hello, Tyler. What's up, ANCAP Fred? The French ANCAP. Oy vey, it's not kosher. Damn, they can pull up 11 years ago receipts. Yeah, they can. Okay, let's go.
Dress up to them, right?
Yes.
Just like Jake the Pirates.
Yes.
She thought the ends, relocation, would justify the means, didn't she?
Yes.
And she thought a move to South Florida was what was best for you.
Yes.
And what was best for your children.
Yes.
Who she cared about more than anyone in the world.
I mean, I don't know who she cared about most in the world, but she...
Speculation.
Is there anyone that she cares about more than those two boys?
Speculation.
Okay. She thought relocation was best for those boys. They were going to have better opportunities, right?
Yes.
Better family support.
Yes.
A happier mother.
Yes.
With a more lucrative profession.
Yes.
And your lives all depended on it. Isn't that what she said?
Yes.
And Dan Markel could have agreed, couldn't he?
He was amenable, but then he didn't want to, ultimately.
Well, he could have moved to South Florida, right? Isn't that what you were asked on cross?
Yes, he could have.
Could have moved to South Florida and enjoyed all that delicious kosher food down there, right?
Yes.
And if he had relented, you and he could have had separate lives. And
okay, I'm going to stop here. So she talked about Nazi uniforms. My whole thing is, because Grandma said, look, they're not going to recognize this. They're too young to know in this thing. They're not going to really know. It's not going to hurt them. Okay, this isn't the best interest of the child. Plus, murdering their dad, they might be too young to remember that they were in the car when it happened, but so be it. Okay, we're almost done here, people. Let's go to the ending of the cross here. Wait. Oh, I'm done with her. Now the brother comes up, and this is a brother of theirs. He's not in jail. He's basically estranged from the family. He's disgusted by them. Okay. And he's a doctor, an ENT in New York. And when he was not away from them, he didn't like the mom. He goes through, yes, mom's super controlling. Yes, all this stuff. When they were going through the divorce, he was just kind of disgusted by the mom and all the stuff that were happening. You can tell he liked the brother-in-law. Then the guy gets killed. He gets a notice about it, and he's like, their attitude was really weird. And he said there's some things about his sister that weren't right, that she was like forcing to tell him about some guy she was with at the time. So he told the FBI. This guy, his demeanor compared to his sister's on this is completely different. And so anyway, this is, did you ask your mom about the murder?
Was there a complete lack of curiosity?
Yeah, nobody seemed curious.
Did you actually ever ask her, like after the murder, like, hey, like, what do you think happened? What do you?
Yeah, and the conversations were kind of rerouted, or that was certainly discouraged, and it was probably like maybe sometime like mid-August, when I finally had a chance to ask and say, what is going on? This was not a small event. This was getting a lot of notoriety. And I said, what do you guys think happened? And she had said, I don't know and I don't care. It doesn't concern me.
Was that out of character for her to not be curious and not be asking some questions?
Yeah, I mean, it was an unsolved murder of, my former brother-in-law, like someone that we all know very well. I mean, if it was like some neighborhood gossip, people would be interested. This was like national interest, and nobody had any curiosity about, who did this to Danny.
Is a person, you mentioned that, not only is it your brother-in-law, but it was like national news at that point as well.
Yes.
And regardless of it being national news or not, I mean, is a person dying from gun violence an extremely unusual thing to happen in your family?
Yeah, I mean, to this day, Danny's the only person that I know who's died from gun violence or been a victim of gun violence, so it's unique in that manner.
What would your mom, Donna Adelson, do?
Why did everybody object to guns?
Anymore about Danny's murder after that?
It wasn't a subject for discussion. It would be rerouted, or it was just not a subject to discuss.
When you say rerouted, do you mean like changing the subject?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fast forward to 2016. Do you remember in May of 2016 when Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera were arrested?
Yeah, I do. I actually saw it in the OR lounge. Someone told me about it. It had to be like a Wednesday, and
you were in the operating room
yeah,
lounge?
It was
and someone
the lounge.
Told you about
it?
It?
It was someone else, because stories like this people see on Twitter or such, and I remember someone telling me, like, did you hear about that case, because it's more than one person had followed it, and I saw it, and then that was on the 26th, and I remember the dates because our anniversary is on the 28th of May. My wife and I were like, should we call them? Like they arrested some guy who killed Danny. And
when you say them, you mean like should we call
parents.
my parents? And
yes.
Yeah, okay. So it was big news that even people you work with were seeing that there were finally some arrests made.
Right.
Okay. And that was 2 days before your anniversary, you said?
Yes.
Okay. So did you and your wife eventually talk to your parents?
We did. Like we thought, like, should we call them? And we figured, if they wanted to call us, they would call us, and then they didn't. And so we figured, well, they'll call us on our anniversary, and so we can just sit tight. And I'm sure it's pretty stressful. And this guy was arrested in Miami, and so they called us on our anniversary, which was the 28th.
Okay, so that was 2 days after the arrest, I think.
2 days after I found out. Yes.
2 days after you found out. Thank you. So on the 28th, did you talk to Donna Adelson?
Yes.
All right. And when she called you, was she telling you the good news that Danny's killers were arrested?
No, just called us for our anniversary, and wished us well, and had some small talk for a bit. I kind of let it go for a little bit. I mean, this was not small news, and so I finally broached the topic and said, they found the guy, they arrested someone who killed Danny. There's no response, and I said it, at least 2 or 3 times that they made an arrest. They got the guy who killed Danny. Yeah, and then her response was, I've got to go.
And then did she hang up the phone after that?
Yes.
And did you ever talk to her about it again, ever after that?
No.
Matter of fact, he says that's the last time he talked to his mother. This bitch is some crazy shit. Timothy, he didn't go to Dan's memorial. When you say he, I imagine you're talking about this brother. Didn't go to the memorial service. I hope if it were me, I would have been in their face and demanded answers. Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Great comment, and you don't know. Like Wendy Adelson had said on the stand today that she'd previously said, "Hey, whoever's responsible, I don't care who it is, I want them to go to suffer, go to jail for this." And then she made the comment, "Well, that was." Then when I thought maybe it was my parents, maybe not. It's like, oh, okay, it's your kid's dad. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that blows me away. It's like I give this guy, I mean, you can tell where did it go here. He's having trouble here, and as this goes on here, let's see here. They go away and they come back, and he's having a hard time.
That kind of thing. Was that the last conversation you had with her?
That was the last time I spoke to her.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
You could tell he was having kind of a tough time, but good for him for doing that. What would you do? This is what's always interesting. My wife, so 2 kids, gets divorced. The dad's got drug, you guys don't know, I've adopted the kids, they're mine now. And, but their bio dad, drug problems, all kinds of things. So he's got supervised visits, and his parents were supposed to be the supervisors, and they were a piece of shit about the whole thing. So it had to stop. But they're like the grandparents, right? And we're like, you can still see them, the kids, you can do stuff with them. And the mom's like, well, if he's not able to, then we don't want to. It's not fair. And it's like, oh my God, those are your grandkids. So she has no relationship with these kids at all, thankfully. I mean, but they could have. But, who chooses those kind of things? I see this a lot. Sometimes it's like you have a situation, maybe young kids, and they have, kids themselves, and then the grandparents. I had a client that was doing some meth, and his mom found it. He's got kids of his own. She called the cops on him, right? That was the kind of person that the judge is like, oh, you could be a supervisor. Sure. Now he got himself straightened out and he got all the kids, and then the ex was having drug problems. So, just watch it. That's all we've got. Very sad, an American tragedy. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And let's try not to be those kind of people ourselves. People, I am out of here. I've got to go find my cat. The dogs are in here. Hopefully they're all not, I'm going to take them out to go to the bathroom, and then I'm going to work from home tomorrow. So I might be able to do a little bit more of this again. Tuesday, I will do a show tomorrow. I'll do a show tomorrow night. I will. You guys tune in back in here. Maybe we'll do a little bit more of this legal stuff if you enjoy it. Maybe we'll break down the flag burning. That's stupid. Maybe we'll see if I can get someone here to come talk about it. Clint, maybe we'll bring Liberty Lockdown on. See if he'll come and talk about it. He did a whole show on that. Thank you, everybody. We will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. You too. Peace out, brother. Curtis, take care, everybody. And I don't think we made our goals. Till tomorrow.
Never mind.